Have you heard of Cleopatra? It was the most expensive movie of the last century. Since there was no special effects technology back then, every scene in the film was built with real sets. To recreate authentic historical scenes, the director literally rebuilt an entire Roman city, replicating all the buildings to scale. The massive investment nearly drove Fox to bankruptcy, but it also made Cleopatra an immortal classic. To meet Mary, George started production on Cleopatra under the guise of being director Carl. The only person who knew the truth was the makeup artist on George's team. This 60-year-old lady was so moved she burst into tears and decided to take this risk with George. Early the next morning, George arrived on set. Today they were shooting the crucial coronation scene. This footage would be submitted as a sample to the Film Association, and its quality would directly determine whether the movie could be released. But all the extras looked exhausted and could barely stand. Just as George was about to lose his temper, someone told him the producer had announced yesterday that filming was cancelled. Only then did George realize the producer had screwed him over. But the sample had to be submitted tomorrow. They had to shoot this scene today. George had a flash of inspiration. He suddenly started shaking the camera violently and shouted, "We're having an earthquake. Everyone sway your bodies and throw things in the air." Mary immediately understood George's intention and helped rally everyone. George yelled at the lead actors. The actor playing Caesar heroically protected Cleopatra. The two quickly got into character. George raised his arm high, and the towering Roman columns came crashing down on cue. It was as if they had truly traveled back to the Roman Empire. This improvised spectacle came to a perfect end. The Film Association was blown away by the sample footage. They thought the earthquake scene was a stroke of genius and had incredibly high expectations for the film. George also discovered the magic of filmmaking through this experience. From that moment on, he wasn't making movies just for Mary anymore. He had become a real director. He worked tirelessly, scrutinizing every scene. After carefully studying the script, George had a bold idea. He found Mary and told her he wanted to reshoot all the deleted dance scenes. But Mary said, "Thank you, but I'm just a stand-in." George said loudly, "This is your dream. Why are you giving up on your dream? Movies are the art of making dreams come true." Mary replied, "I spent the first half of my life getting beaten down chasing dreams. I don't have the courage to take risks anymore." George smiled bitterly. Mary didn't know anything. She didn't know her being here wasn't a coincidence. She didn't know George had already bet everything he had. George told Mary, "Whether you come or not, I'll be waiting here for you tomorrow." Mary went back to the dressing room to pack her things but overheard the old lady talking next door. The lady said this movie existed because of a stand-in actress. Mary froze. She suddenly understood everything. She turned around, changed into her dance costume, and ran back to the set. This time, both George and Mary achieved their dreams. Mary danced gracefully on stage while George watched her with deep affection. Mary's dream was his dream, but after the dance, Mary couldn't find George anywhere. George had hidden himself because he knew that after this dance, he would have to say goodbye to Mary forever. The next day, Mary got in the car with the movie star. But halfway there, Mary suddenly jumped out of the car and ran back without looking back to find George. She told him, "Thank you for giving me the courage to chase my dreams. Now my courage is telling me that the person standing in front of me is the one I love most."